have all gathered here to hear a talk called Clocks and Peacocks. It's an intriguing title, and as much the speaker today is as intriguing. So I would say let's first of all namaskar and a warm welcome to all of you on behalf of the trustees and staff of the LT Museum. Today, as our prominent guest, I would say our speaker, we have an extraordinary couple here. Even though only Hiren Shah is going to speak, I cannot disregard or nowhere can I think of not adding about his lovely wife, Dr. Namita, because the whole journey would be incomplete without her. You will soon know how busy they are, and I have noticed a number of their doctor friends and other people. And yet, I have seen Hiren Shah always making time for things. कभी कभी यहाँ लेक्चर में दिख जाएंगे, कभी और कहीं दिख जाएंगे, and I always wondered, especially now that I know him a little more, that how does he manage all this? So first of all, before we start, a small token of appreciation to both Dr. Hiren Shah and Dr. Namita. Priyanka, I request you to mind. But still, customarily I need to say something, and let alone talk about, of course there are other accomplishments. Today being World Heritage Day, it's again we are very honored to have someone who has contributed so much to heritage. Some of you might know him as a doctor, but for us or for us as in the museum, we know him as someone who has really contributed also to the field of heritage. Just briefly, Dr. Hiren and Dr. Namita Shah, Dr. Hiren is a senior pediatrician with a practice of almost 40 years, running his Shesha Children's Hospital at Maninagar in Ahmedabad, while Dr. Namita is a senior consultant gynecologist at Zydus Hospital at Ahmedabad and engaged in high-risk obstetrics and robotic surgeries. They both have excellent academic careers and have achieved various honors like board ranks, university toppers, gold medals. And then we think of it that what are doctors doing in the museum? And many of you are doctors who are coming to listen to them. So what is this? But that's the important thing, that even after establishing themselves as successful medical doctors in Ahmedabad, they have both engaged in various offbeat interests, activities and hobbies, and which they lovingly call their 25th hour. ये मैंने आपसे सीखा है, something that I want to keep close to my heart. They make time for things. We don't have time. Everyone is busy, but here are two people who have made time to follow their passion and do most wonderful things. So renowned as avid travelers, both have explored more than 50 countries, sharing their experiences, not only just traveling, but sharing their experiences through blogs, travelogues, photo essays. And Dr. Hiren is a serious photographer. He has held solo exhibitions of photography. Their home, I'm sure you have all heard of it, called Houseum, is a vast repertory of thematic collections housing more than 10,000 artifacts. I think there might even be more than 10,000. ये एक अंदाजन figure लगा दिया है. The Lock Museum, which is part of the Houseum, boasts of more than 3,000 locks, including the world's largest collection of trick locks. So that's really another interesting feature that we are going to hear about today. Then there is a place called Enigmatic. It's a unique puzzle museum within the Houseum, which features more than 2,000 artifacts showcasing complex mechanical puzzles and on different subjects. And as the sole Indian in the metagrobiologistic community, did I say it right? Yeah, okay. So you have to explain what this community is. Okay? He's been in this community for 15 years and he has delivered lots of lectures in various international conventions. So I felt he's quite like a chupa Rustam, muh pe alag dikhte, but there is so much puzzling, so many things that we can unravel about what he knows, what he collects, what he does. And India Today's Travel Plus recognized Houseum and Dr. Hiren and his wife Dr. Namita in the 60 most interesting people and places in the country. So that's really an honor. And yet, after all this, what they say is medicine is their most loved hobby, where they both solve biological puzzles of young children and mothers daily during their medical practice. It is indeed a great pleasure and honor to have you here with us. And I now request Dr. Hiren to share his journey with us and to maybe share some very interesting facts.
Thank you, Sujata ji, for this nice and generous introduction. I am thankful to LD Museum whole team, Radhika Ben, Sujata ji, Priyanka, Sunanda, Kajal, and I may forget many names, but then having put so much efforts to plan this particular talk in very short time. Of course, I am thankful to you, all my esteemed guests, who have come here at the most hot day of the Ahmedabad and graced this function. I feel really honored and humbled. So, first be warned. Then, just 3 words I am going to stretch in such a lengthy way of 1 hour or so, with so many twists and turns, which may be more lethal than these coils of python. Hope you may not get suffocated. But then, yes, those 3 words are locks, clocks, and peacocks. Can you anybody say what is a common thing in between these 3 words or objects? Sorry? CKS, exactly. And because of CKS, they rhyme well. But that's not the reason we are here. Let's reason more than rhyme. Let's see what's the reason. Exactly. So the reason for what we are here, there are 2 aspects of this. First is I want to have you peep in the world of the collector and take you on the journey of these collections. And second, let's see what emerges out as we go ahead in this particular talk. But then, as a collector, many people are curious about this particular hobby because somebody's trash, the things which have been outlived, discarded, and then thrown away. Because आज के ज़माने में कौन कुएं में से पानी निकालने के बर्तन घर पे रखेंगे? अब साई जो दौत होती है इंक पॉट, उसके अंदर डुबो के कौन लिखने वाला है? और हर दिन या हर हफ्ते में चाबी कौन लगाएगा घड़ी को? So all these things are discarded, but then these collectors, they go after that, hunt for them, put lot of their energy, time in procuring them, bring them home, give such a sizable space in their house, and then literally nurse them like an aging parent or any pet dog. So there is definitely a craze of collection, and that is not less than colossal. It's not easy for somebody else to understand the fathom of this passion of possession. That's again is priceless. But then it's not, we are not hoarders or accumulators of things. They are lying in lot at the vendor's shop. There is definitely method in madness. So we just not bring them here at our home. We clean them, prepare them, catalog them, classification, and all this undergo, and then gradually we try to bring them for the discussion with the guests. Sometimes we create articles, and like today's event, just I'm talking about these same collections. So apart from fun, which we get a lot of fun, so this is the function what we are talking today. And I use this my talk on the same subject of locks, clocks, and peacocks. How they can, inspire us to think laterally, think out of the box. In one of the conference of International Puzzle Conference, I used to transpolate the aspects of these collections to just come out with the new kind of methodology to solve the puzzles. It's the lateral thinking. There's another kind of thinking, what we call is creative thinking, and that creative thinking mainly is the domain of artists and then people who are in the art theater. But then the same can be applied in the medical field too, where we can just come out with the new molecule with the creative thinking, some other therapies where we can just tackle some dreadful diseases. So beyond this lateral and creative thinking, there is one more thinking, what we are trying to apply today, that's abstract thinking. And that's abstract is this about relating to unrelated kind of thoughts or perspectives. And then for this, let's go ahead with our discussions and chats. And let's start unlocking the secrets of time and beauty and our journey here ahead. For that, I'll have to take you back to my childhood at the age of 10 years when I got hooked to my first serious hobby of stamps collection. These stamps were my windows to the world, and as if riding on the wings of these first day covers and stamps, I was trying to visualize and dreaming to see the places and people at the far off corners of the world. Probably future travel bug in me was conceived, which is literally active at the present, but then primary lessons in collecting probably I got at that time only, which helped me to learn the nitty-gritty of this collecting, like classifying and then creating albums or creating discussion points. But more than that, certain stamps which I had when I just dig them, I realized that certain things which were not, I could not understand. I could later on when I visited such places, I realized and learned about them. And then mainly this kind of stamps, they were deeply etched in my mind, but then at certain stages of life, I could just unearth them and then find the significance of them. Peacocks is one of them. And then during the studies, everything was in the back burner. But when I came to Ahmedabad in 1984 to establish as a pediatrician, I started with I was empty-handed with 8 gold medals, but then it was a very humble start of 6-bed small nursing home. I started with. Gradually, I applied myself, and then within the next 10 years, I could take it to almost 30 beds, full-fledged Sesho Children's Hospital in Maninagar. Of course, now I was a successful or rather established pediatrician, but I was passing most of the time in my hospital managing my practice. I started asking myself, what about my dreams, which I was seeing even at daytime in early childhood? So I had very serious discussion with my wife. We decided to restructure our practice, redesign our working hours, and literally our journey started in a different direction, especially travels. And along with travels, another thing was about to happen is this about the story of 1995-96 when we started building our house. At the time when we started, we realized we wanted to do something different. We thought initially, why to, as an eco-preservation, I thought, why not I use recycled wood? And then the same time, the thought came that why not we use all the structural elements which are used to make house from the old dilapidated mansions and other buildings. So we started using doors, windows, jarocas, railings, ceilings, even lampshades and part of the flooring from the old houses. We collected them over the time, put them together, literally the walls were built around them and our edifice just came up. But we realized it's all woody, rustic, dull, lifeless. It needed color. We tried to instill color, but before that I recall my mother who was, when we were staying at a place called Karad in Maharashtra, and then my parents spent almost 18 years there, and always I saw her doing rangoli here in the front courtyard, and then her favorite subject was peacock. And then when we are building our house here, we realized there are many peacocks in the neighborhood. They used to visit us, and these colors really fascinated me. And then when we had installed these particular doors and windows, their ventilators have this, almost they were mimicking the colors of the peacocks green, blue, and this yellow. So I thought that let me have this particular color infused in this particular edifice, which I started building. First phase, second phase, we took it next top floor to make it enigmatic, and then last 5 years we again had annexy. Now all these places, now at that time we were calling Houseum next, and this is the very building where we had our now lock museum. So, but then one can just perceive that how interestingly beautiful it looks when the just colors of peacocks are in the vicinity of this particular old antiquated structure. And suppose somebody comes to my place at present and the eyes will be fixated or gaze will go up to see this particular colorful kind of a weather vane of peacock shape. Even at our entry also you'll find twin peacocks sitting there comfortably. Enter you and you find another very old piece of structure of peacock. Look at the right, again there are a set of brackets of peacocks. On your left you'll find another sculpture installed there. And everywhere surrounding, if you see at the entrance of our house, you'll find so many peacocks like this. And if you're lucky, some peacock may be there at your entry, inviting you, even waving with your hands. And at times, then when you're knocking at the door, peacock may come and then welcome you like that. So peacocks, so great influence on us. So when we just started again, continuing with the work, we started with this old work with using colors and then adding life to that. And gradually this kind of old structures getting really interesting, bright, and then lively. But then it was almost overdoing, in overdrive. What was the colorless thing? We just created a place now which you can call it as a chaotic, cluttering, and confused. So if you enter, beware about that. Keep in mind that it's not an easy space, because there, if you just think that there are almost 400 figurines of peacocks, you have to search and find them literally. So like that, this is one panel where you'll find this peacock like that. There are many architectural elements where peacocks are there, and then many kitchenware with brass or copper and many things. You'll be finding many peacocks, even morning tea with these ceramics of peacocks and tea sets, and likewise in many different forms and figures of different material like paper and then glass and ceramic and clay. All this even you can see in the peacock is etched on the lamp, and then these are the pandan or a spirit lamp or even hangers and like that. What not? Everything thanks to our ancestors and forefathers. They are such a keen eye to art or the love for the ornate objects. They wanted to be surrounded or using all the elements of utility in their day-to-day life, which were nothing less ornate than this kind of things. For example, the ink pots of that era, table lamps, even this is log, and then of different materials like even stone, spirit lamps, and others. And all these are scattered here in our house, and even paintings by some celebrated like Amitabh Balalji and other Ramanway. All these are the paintings, then leather work, embroidery, and even mother of pearl. So peacocks, really made a great impact. Of course, they added grace and beauty and glitter and charm in a house. But then also it's been said that these colors are not less therapeutic. They impart good health. Especially when we say about the color therapy, they are having a great positive impact on our health as far as emotional, mental, spiritual, apart from physical health. But then while doing this, we realize that when we are planning to have this house built, our biggest, to collect all these architectural elements, bring them, plan that how to manage with the scale and harmony. For example, the central door from the south sitting between the two stone windows of Haryana, like that. So we just try to create a edifice or a building of the bygone era. We try to replicate of 1920s British colonial house, and of course, there is a long journey of scouting and searching and salvaging this from the different places, sourcing, bring them home, and then planning. So, no doubt, the end result was very interesting, very playful, and loving space have been created. And then our love for the artifacts, art objects continued, not just peacocks, but then many things. I'm happy that Mrs. Sudha Bhatt is here. She just has published an article today and just a week back in the Vishwa Vihar about this collection of hookahs in our house. The title of this is, I picked up from her, Kalatmak Hookah Darbar. Good, there are other people, they call it hookah bar. Here is hookah darbar, and these are many types of hookahs what we have in our living room. So all our rooms are having a thematic collections, and this our living room is having all these hookahs of the different era, different type, different material, and different forms. Same way, the dining place having teapots or this turquoise blue pottery. Our puja room having all the cows of different types and from different places of India and the world. Even our eccentricity is percolated everywhere, in even our bedroom, in our bathroom, and even our kitchen is not spared. So likewise, all these artifacts which we use thematically to decorate our house with these like scrapers and graters in the external kitchen, even these plaques of the stones or stone painting, or even old kind of paintings like Pishwai or even contemporary art, all these are being reflected. You stand in the house, any corner, you'll have a darshan of Ganesh Bhagwan and from any and every corner of the house. So likewise, this is a central core, and then there this is standing is the 24 feet this Jaroka. All this need a lot of energy. And what we realized, it was quite a tall task to do this or to erect this. We spent a lot of time from 95 to 99, 4 years were spent, and we at that time very, very harshly, you can say not harshly, but very, we learned this lesson that time is our biggest challenge. How to find time? Because we are very busy. I was having practice at that time, right at the peak of practice, almost 9. At that time, I was working in hospital for 12 to 14 hours. Namita was busy raising children, looking after the academics and then extracurricular activities. My parents are aging, and then she was again doing practice. Hers was more difficult task. And then we had to collect all these things and make it, and there was no interior designer. We did it ourselves. So all whatever wrong or right, create and discreate goes to us only. But then that was a time, and we realized that nothing can beat the time. And then we came with a new phrase in our life. And that phrase, what she maintained, is our 25th hour. This is a stolen time, you can say, squeezed in time from our daily routine. And of course, whatever we have daily schedules and routines, we have to continue with that. But then in bits and bytes, we'll have those time pieces, we'll try to channelize them for some purposeful activity. And every time we change our activity or hobby, during those days was building a house and traveling. So this is the 25th hour, and we realize how, and it is, I don't know whether to call it destiny or what. In my consulting room, on my next to my chair is this particular clock in the shape of lock. It was given to me by one of my relatives in 1984 when I came to Ahmedabad. So probably I was destined to collect locks and clocks. I had no, in my wildest dream, the idea that I'll be a collector in the future, which started quite late after 91, 92. But then this continuous ticking and clicking for last 40 years made us think that physical form of time is clock. Why not collect clocks? So now another subject came of collecting clocks, and I found it very mysterious. I am lucky to have visited 3-4 clock museums in USA, UK, New Zealand, and in Japan. So all these clock museums, I always learn something new about the clocks. Very long history. It's more mysterious than what we think. But then we have come with the very playful plaque there. because there are almost 100 clocks. And there's all clocks, if I keep them chiming, clinging, ticking, then it will be quite a big noise pollution. So it's all these clocks, they are being kept off or they are stopped at the 5 o'clock point. So at least there is some point in the world, every time there will be 5 o'clock. And at least our clocks will be twice a day showing the right time. But then apart from that, this is a dedicated space for the clocks. Apart from that, every room has some different kind of clock with a different make, different mechanisms. And then, as we know, the primary 3 types of clocks were in the world when it began, like a sun clock, sundials were being used as a clock, and then came the water clocks. Gradually, we are having this particular grandfather, a tall case clock, clocks with the weights. I won't go in the detail, but then this mental clock and tall clock, and these all clocks at the different places, they are more installed as sculptures, as if reminding us all the time about our 25th hour. So I'm really proud when I just happened to visit Victoria Albert Museum, that what we are having, one source from one of the renowned mills of Ahmedabad, this punch clock is having, this is the same as the Victoria Albert Museum, and it's of the London London Machine Works. So kind of this chronometers and the different type makes, different purpose. Some are every day we have to wind the key, some 7 days, and some are 1,000 days old also. So it is right from the Black Forest, and this is a cuckoo clock. And these are, all quirky different clocks. The eyes of this particular puppy are again, boils are moving, they are showing time like this, 8:40. But then the mystery, what I was asking, or wondering, what clocks will tell us? With the help of us, clocks, we only understand, or rather we question ourselves more. Do we master our own time, or do they rule us? Whether clock help us to unlock the time, or do we get locked in? So that's a question for all of us. But then this is a collection which always wonder and make me think about the time, how it is a continuous, eternally working. Every next second is a past. Of course, our house has, with this collection, has become a fusion of tradition and technovation. We even use the period furniture in addition to these old windows and then pillars, almost 10 types of different pillars. Even students of architecture, they come and visit us. There are almost 40 doors now, 40 doors with the different parts of India. They have been installed as a kind of decoration, and even some are functioning. But then there is no compromise in utility or kind of technovation or automation. So it's a wonderful place. It has come up gradually with this kind of colorful things around us. All these, as she said, more than 10,000 artifacts. They are as if breathing with us, living with us in this house. We want them to be surrounding us, not to be stacked in the cupboards or hang on the wall, but then they are scattered around us. So, of course, it cannot be called as not at all a conventional house. But if it's not a conventional house, but then it cannot be a standard museum. Who stays in museum? Every now and then we were being ridiculed by our friends and everybody. Hiren, tu kahan rehta hai? Ye ghar hai kya museum? So I used to just, jokingly tell, no, you are right. It's a museum only. Apparently it looks like a house. And yes, we are in a museum. This is a French word for this particular blending of two words, house and museum. So everybody thinks that we have fused these two words. It's called portmanteau. But then, more than that, it's a cryptic calligraphy, which is one of the favorite subjects since childhood, creating this calligraphy. And then why I call it more than a museum? Because I will add 4 characters in this, and then it will start reading as Houseum. So house and museum, same way, it's a Houseum. We lovingly call our place as a Houseum. And in literally houses, one museum, and that's of locks. Of course, now there are 2 museums. One is a lock museum, we call Docs Locks. And second museum is enigmatic, that's attic, about the puzzle museum at the top floor. But when this was a mainly people are more curious to know about locks. They always want to know why I love locks. And that's a little abstract thinking, but then I always feel that even primitive man, after the primary requirements of roti kapda makan, food, shelter, and cloth, he once made, fourth thing he must have needed must be lock. Of course, we may not be aware about the type of the lock, but he wanted to make secure the extra food he had hunted, and then that beautiful skirt he has made for his wife should not be stolen by the neighbor. So he must be safeguarding those things, and that must be the lock. And then we know this rolling stone is a kind of the lock which was in the earlier, before many centuries, and even many of you must have visited this part of Turkey where this one rolling stone safeguards a huge colony or township of 10,000 people. So that's underground. So locks have changed the forms over the years and centuries. And first documented lock was from the Egyptian civilization, and that was a prototype of that lock. And one realized how interestingly it looked like a pin tumbler lock, what we see in present day. So 3,500 years over, and then these locks are still in the use. Of course, and every invention in physics till this last millennia have been utilized to make locks more secure and strong. There are many different ways, and then we must, if just we bypass our using our phone where a password is a lock, if we bypass that, even we as average man from 10 years to 65, we must be using more than 25 lakhs times this particular locks, like opening a drawer, opening our bicycle, or lock of the car, like that. So commonly used, and locks are with us right from cradle to grave. Say, for example, in China, there is a custom to tie this kind of lock around the neck of the newborn baby. And then in Middle East and these countries of Muslim, they have in their graveyards, they bind or rather hang these locks to keep evils away. So likewise, I'm very happy to always share this particular slide, because these are the four great people of the world in the history who have been deeply connected with the locks. Tsarina of the Russia, George Washington, you can see. Left side is the King Louis XVI of France. He himself was a great lockmaker, though he may be a poor king as a administrator, but he was very good in his mechanical skills. And the fourth down is a very renowned novelist, Julius Verne. Again, here is many fantasy novels, but these four are, so I'm always happy to just share like this. I don't want to put myself next to it, but then we are here. Then our journey of 25 years started like this, and what we are holding now in my hand, or our hands, is this particular trophy lock, which was our first lock, and which was, I have shared history with Sujata and others, how we procured. I don't know about the time. Somebody will remind me if I'm overshooting. So I'm not just sharing the story, but then the initial love for my locks started with the trick locks. Tricks and puzzles were since childhood my love, and I was involved in so many different type of puzzling, like initial years, mathematical puzzles, then came wires and nail puzzles, gradually logical, and then Sudoku, and this Rubik Cube came, and others. So I realized that it's one of the wonderful puzzle itself. And then after 25 years journey, we have come up with the really almost kind of bigger gallery, or almost near to Lock Museum. And now it's been rated in our community of lock collectors as the second biggest lock museum in the world at the personal level. But then after getting this lock, I realized that locks not just for the puzzling or tricks. I started collecting locks for different size and shape, age and antiquity, even some story or history related to it, even antiquity, complexity, and then, of course, affordability. And I ended up with almost more than 3,000 locks. I stopped counting afterwards, but then there are plenty of locks with me of different, such a huge classification in that also. But then, no wonder these locks have been in the different books of records here and across the world. But more important than that, this attracted so many of the historians, writers, collectors to my place in last 20 years. They started writing about this particular collection in the books of, newsletters and other journals and then books. And then, I'm talking about 20 years back, I was invited in the European lock collectors meet at Felbert in Germany. And I was the first ever non-white person in that particular group. And at that time, my presentation, based on the philosophy of our Hindus, life in locks in every subject, that attracted lot many people. Even media was also quite curious to know about that. And I find really life, I find locks quite interactive, like this small iron lock about 250 years old, and as if with this doll, she is with folded hands, as if, yes, she's reminding me to wish you all a happy World Heritage Day. So like that. So these are the kind of locks, having this kind of interactive quality. I use the almost same lock, which is for my title docs locks. So there are tricks in them, and then I was also able or successful in portraying this collection of rusty and crusty small metal objects of iron and brass as one of the most premium puzzles in the world. And there again, because of that, attracted a different kind of people to my place that I'll come later. But then trick lock, everybody asks, what do you mean by trick lock? Just a sentence about that. Because for us, a conventional thing is that if we say, what is lock means this kind of lock, and then here is the keyhole, and you just put a key, turn it, click, and it opens. But here also it won't happen like this. If there is some unusual or hidden mechanisms, then probably it will be in the category of trick lock. So I call it, this new term I have come up with is the art of deception, which defines the trick locks. Even keys are also so interesting. We have this conventional image of key with us, but then if you just happen to see, there are certain keys which look like a fish hook or a spanner or flat strip or even kind of a needle or so. So these are the type of keys which were used in the past. These are the last 150 or 200 years keys for the locks what were used there. And then I've got some images with me. When I say, it's a very simple way, I just really explain this with the schematic presentation in the other conferences, where this is a lock which is seen with the two knobs here, and then you have to manipulate them, turn them, create a play with them, just press them down, allow some movement inside, and then this bolt goes a little ahead. That makes a room for this plate to move and exposes real keyhole from where you put a key and lock opens. So likewise, these are different steps in opening the locks. This lock is with one key. There are 2 keys lock. There are 5 keys lock. Likewise, there are 3 steps, 5 steps, 10 steps. These are different types of lock. This is a very curious case where I was invited in Australia. I was the first brown person, you can say. People were curious to know about me, and then at that time, basically, some try to even ridicule me. Oh, you are from India. Do you need really locks there? Likewise, yes, we are still a country of jungle man and snake charmers, and we don't have any wealth to protect like that. And then again, he asked another question. You are, I read that you are a medical doctor. How come you have this technical subject? I just explained to him that no, I love these mechanisms. I had been through IIT and then came back into the medical field. Like I tried to, pacify him. Still, they are poking me more. So I said, wait for my tomorrow's talk, and I'll explain you that this particular lock needs 5 doctors. You'll need 5 doctors to open this lock. And this is that lock. I know it's not easy for you to appreciate from the distance, but then this is one thing is that this is the image. This particular small lock, about 6-7 inches, of brass lioness holding a cub here. First is it's a very witty way to tell. It's a very simple steps, but then I call it in the operation theater, this lock has to be taken, and then ENT surgeon operates to the ear. And then next comes a neurosurgeon who will take off the tumor sitting on the head. And then, I never tell that Namita, because here needs a veterinary doctor, gynecologist, who will deliver this baby or a cub from the front. It will make a room for the gastrosurgeon or endoscopist to work inside, and spinal surgeon will come in the picture. He will pull off this tail-like shackle and lock will open. So this is how it's a fun for us. And then, interestingly, those two people, they were from Helsinki, and they were my very good friends. They are planning to come to India in this winter. So, and I have a place to stay there if I go there. So likewise, it's a very interesting community. Just now I had been to Borneo and I had made special stop at Kuala Lumpur to stay with another friend there, again with this kind of puzzle community. But then just how it inspired me to just rechange my presentation. And then I am having now these 7 ways by which Indian tree clocks are based is now also accepted as Dr. Shah's classification. I won't go much into the details of this, but then I have given names to these particular locks like Arjun Sa and Dali's Mustache and Picasso's Paradox, and that's a cylindrical trophy like that. And I just don't because of tricks, but I find it very funny way to look at the locks, and I many times even share with the people gives me this playful or charming job to handle these locks. For example, the lock with the combination, it opens only with LOVE, love. So next to it is one having this particular image of eternal lovers, Radha and Krishna. So love and lovers are there. On one side is a protector holding a baby in the hands, what we saw that lock. Here is a predator or a hunter having that prey or a deer in the hands. These are the precious locks, with silver and real gold, or that these locks can be used or keys can be used as ornaments in the women. One side is, a wild dance of this Nataraj, Shiva, and then other side is a very calm and composed mudra of this our Buddha Bhagavan. Same way, we think that we keep the image of locks on the gods on the lock, they will protect our premises. But ironically, even these temples where they are staying, we need to protect their doors and gates with the locks. So locked gods and gods in locks. One side is Hitler, we don't want him. And then another is the Jawahar, we don't know about him also. But then these are figures, like a sumo, kind of wrestlers, they look and pose like that. But unfortunately, there is a very painful way of opening them from the back. And other lock is like this, not a very good looking, a little ugly I would say, but then very sexy figure of 3, 6, 2, 4, 3, 6. I have to manage these numbers to open this combination lock. So likewise, this is a ceremonial lock for some bank opening, and then Mahatma Gandhi as a memorial lock. On one side, we are celebrating freedom. On the other side, it's a captivity and arrest with this particular handcuffs. So this was my first, a gallery, which was also very interesting. Of course, we unscrambled this, took our whole collection to the next one, and for me again to display, for me and more than me, Namita, it's a meditation to arrange the locks, clean them, see that they're properly handled, no staff or work is allowed here, and that way we generally maintain these 2 parts of the house. And then this is the way we have created these displays. And this is a new, I'll just give you a few glimpses, not opening, just showing the front pages like this, not exposing everything, but this is an entry to our new lock museum here. And again, the same title of Doc's Locks in a bigger and better way we have done. Very rare types of some locks which are, having with me are smokehouse locks and many things with us which we are displayed here. There are many, it's a layered museum. we call it. On the first hand, we want to celebrate our heritage. And heritage is what? These are the woodworking. And woodworking, we have made few pavilions. One side is, for example, center part is from the Shekhawati, back side are the Maharashtra or central India. Other side is Gujarat here, and then like this, there are some other one I'm not showing here is from south. So likewise there we have made, and this is a celebration of our woodworking. Inside there is another sub layer of yali, or this kind of mythological beast. They are supposed to be the protector of humankind and mankind, and they again kind of one gives us security and safety. I had a chance to speak about Indian locks in many places, right from America to China. But the most interesting part in my lock museum is one of the picture or painting done by our very own Nabi Baksh Mansoori. And after having come, I wished how Sujata ji and her team should not have come to my place. My importance would not have been diluted, and I would not have to share with Namita. Same happened with him. Till he came, he was thinking that I'm really something very special. But then after going back, he created this painting where I was a chatter-putter speaking all the time and talking about and blah blah. Namita doing everything behind the scenes and then keeping mum. So lock is put on her lips. So likewise, this is a painting in our particular lock museum. This is again a story a little back. I'm taking you in 2006 where after hearing about my lock collection, they came to our place, and then they were the kind of what we call metagraphologists. They are the very small community of ours across the world, some 35 countries. We are 300 people, and all three people who are seeing are the who of the who. On the right side is Dick Hess. He happens to be the sixth generation grandson of Benjamin Franklin of USA. He himself is a scientist. Another one on the left side next to Namita is who heads the UNICEF about the de-addiction. His budget is more than our whole state of Gujarat. He is handling that. And the third one is Frans de Vroed from Holland. He has won in last 15 years 3 times award of best buildings in Europe. So these are the people. But then our common hobby which binds us is the puzzling or metagraphology. And they were here looking at my passion and interest and depth of, knowledge about this. They right away give me an invitation to talk as a keynote lecture in Australia. For me, it was a different plethora of treasure opened up. And then since then, my journey started from different places. And then generally, they love this presentation where I use so many animations, and then I'm given an open kind of a forum every time a podium is with me. If I say I can present anything there, and I have given many presentations on all these different parts of the world like Seoul and Osaka and other things. I've started designing puzzles myself. We exchange with the different designs, and then it's very altogether different subjects by itself. On a talk itself, my children, they both are these sons. They are involved in this, and we, do a lot of things about the puzzling together. And this there is very different story about enigmatic also, which has come up upstairs, where I have taken another 10 subjects, which are for the first for the first time somebody in the world has taken these 10 subjects together. I had a privilege to launch this particular enigmatic at the Paris some 7 years back, and then just I can say that it's enigmatic is there is a cryptic calligraphy. I just rushed through this. Different calligraphy and ancient architecture. I try to portray and present to the world the importance of Indian architecture and what elements what we are using and how it's best eco-friendly for our tropical region. Likewise, this particular thing was there. Temple, Torah, trellis, like that. Fibonacci series and all these, interesting mathematical aspects we are utilizing in making our Houseum, which really sounded silly at that time. People were really laughing at us. But then I'm happy that I get big, huge applause when I talk about this in those learned community of people there. And then I just try to combine old with the modern. Even Raza has gone in the ceiling here. And then it's all about the symbolism, metaphoric allegory, and like that. There are hundreds of objects where there are secret spaces, which was a need of the day when banks were not there, and you'll find so many things there, having secret spaces or kind of cabinets with, chambers inside. Like vintage vessels, which hardly we know that this is such a kind of puzzling quality, and these are the things which we are having in our surrounding, but hardly we knew about them. Same thing about these boxes. Hundreds of boxes are there now. I could get in creating a book on this. Same about the mythology. I could now study little detail and then realize that we also had illusions and many different aspects of puzzling in our mythology also. And there is another subject of curious collectibles, which I'll rush through this, and then so this is a very altogether different subject. I thought, as I'm talking of locks, clocks, and peacocks, and how it will, have more impact or abstract thinking and correlation, I'm just running through these images. But so that's what I wanted to say. Not just locks, clocks, peacocks. All these symbolically represent Houseum. So more than this many artifacts, let's all join to celebrate our rich heritage, as it happens to be World Heritage Day. And one cannot directly correlate. But if we start thinking out of the box, little creatively and without any hindrance, we can just solve this particular exercise we have been always given to connect 9 dots. So all these particular things are possible, and same way, what I'm talking about, the chats and discussions during our World Heritage Day apply to the same. We try to connect with the different things which apparently don't look related to each other. Like here in this house, as I open my Houseum open for public viewing during the World Heritage Week, at least people to come, and we give them tour. Me and Namita, we give in tandem about 1.5 to 2 hours tour in 2 batches every World Heritage Week in the November for 10 days, and even on some special days. And now we are planning to open it more frequently, as I have now scaled down my working hours, and then so this will be possible. We will try to connect with the people and let them be exposed to these particular aspects of different things. So it's a guided tour. It's been shown here in this particular thing, how we just showcase our different places. We talk about them, and then it's always interactive. Only in that I may be talking or speaking many times, and people may be adding. And through this kind of sessions, I get to learn a lot of things. Likewise, last time when this LD staff, all the 3 of them added so much of wealth in my knowledge when they came only for 2-3 hours there. So like this, every person coming there adds there to our knowledge, and then it makes this particular experience more interactive, more healthy and wealthy. So again, many foreigners, they have specially planned, they are specially flown to visit our places. For example, the one very special person who is walking on the crutches is Hiren. He is having the world's biggest personal museum. I met him 20 years back, and then I many times met during our lock collectors meet. He had promised me, and after looking at the pictures of this little sneak views of this, he decided to fly here to Ahmedabad directly from Germany, and we are lucky to have his blessings. And then when somebody enters, we tell them that you be prepared that we'll be taking you back in time with literally this anti-clock movement of the hands of the clock. And you won't be going to the ape man, don't worry about that if you come there, but then it will be a very different kind of a laid back or a old world charm there. So it's all experience of going back in time, looking certain things of the past, having that nostalgia for the elderly and children, having that kind of new knowledge. So another part is the history. We are just trying to connect with the past and convey them this particular anti-clock. Like this, many people not knowing about Mahatma Gandhi and his movement and freedom struggle, and how this too, I'm having locks collection, which will differentiate very clearly the followers of Mahatma Gandhi and Subhash Chandra Bose, Jai Hind Sena, like that. There is a lot of symbolism and been used in the house. Say, for example, if you be there, of course, somebody will now have a chance to post from here to their dear and near ones will be opening that particular section also. Somebody can post from the Houseum also, but we really take them back in time when mailboxes were physical and not with emails virtual, when their locks were real and as not passwords or digital. So likewise, these were the times, the era, the youngsters, they are not seen or they are not aware about that. And very nicely been said that when phone was tied with wire and we were literally free. So this, kind of things or symbolism I want to just convey in our particular Houseum when people come. And then there is a lot of artistic expressions which we have to bow to this our ancestor and forefathers. I call my Houseum as a matrix, a showcase of skills, talent, and wisdom of our forefathers to the world. So that's my dream, to take it to the world, that what talent was with us in our country, in our people, and just to respect that in a literal way. Before we enter in our Lock Museum, it's a tribute to these two people. They are the symbolic one. These are the real life sketches of the artisans. On the left side, one we are seeing is a Murad Hussain, who sits as a lock repairer, key maker at Tran Darwaja or this Badra Fort. Another is Lalu Luhar. He is practicing his this particular blacksmithery near Wada's circle. So they are symbolically representing this community who had made locks, and not just locks, so many artistic objects of yesteryears without any modern tools or modern technology or ways of communication. So you can appreciate this, which I come up with this particular new building, which is now part of my Lock Museum only. And if you look at you must all have taken heritage walk, gone into but then you can't stop yourself marveling at this kind of artistic work, woodwork, what we were having our forefathers enjoyed, and they have put their efforts, money, and their energy in making them. So it's our duty to preserve them, and that's the one I want to convey to the new generation. So it's a tradition and culture which will be making aware through this particular kind of talks, particular visits to these places. And then awareness, say for example, Staple, people hardly visit. There are plenty of them in surrounding. See one of the picture which I am having in the entrance as a skylight. And when you enter in our Houseum, you will find a water body which is a replica, or some elements have been taken from the temple tank that used to be the very prominent part of the regular visits of our forefathers. So when you come there, you realize how literally these particular elements of temples are being embedded or being created here. How water flows through these particular faucets. Priyanka taught me that they are called as pranala. I was not aware. So these are the pranala of different types, of that. So 4 types I was told, and then they all are there here. So this is what we want to take it to the people surrounding. And when I say we'll having chats, I've said that it's about the connect. Same way, symbolism of the different artifacts. It's a traditions and culture I want to make you aware. It's artistic expressions of our forefathers and all these historical elements. And with this, this chats is about today's connection of locks, clocks and peacocks to our this particular World Heritage Day. And then what else can be better celebration of World Heritage Day with these meaningful chats and connecting with our heritage, enriching our appreciation of the past and its relevance to the present and preserving for the future generation. So let me wish that you find a peacock which will fill your life with rainbow of colors and glitter and grace in your life. Let me wish that you find that clock also having 25th hour, which will help to fulfill all your dreams and then activities what you always wanted to do. Maybe not possible, but then you should find time, because time runs very fast than what we know. And third thing, I pray that you find this lock which will unlock different avenues in life filled with energy, excitement, enthusiasm, filled with purpose and meaning, which will make your existence on this beautiful planet really meaningful. So all this come together will make our today's talk. Thank you very much for this particular opportunity to share my thoughts with you all. And you may clap, and I won't let you go before this, my solving this puzzle. And then this puzzle is not very difficult. Just with the one click, it brings to the end. Thank you very much.
He has not mentioned his art or photography. I think that's the main part. When you go to his place, just see that albums, and after back side of the album, he must have mentioned the hours, that these 24 hours or 30 hours I have spent. So he has got everything in a calculation.
So focused.
Yes.
He dreams, he sleeps all the time. Cute.
We will have another talk on photography.
Yes.
Your word travel is amazing, your childlike energy.
Yes.
Yeah, and the way you want to share or imparting knowledge, I think for us, we are nothing in front of you. Like there are many things to learn. Like you're saying that inspiring us and motivating us. Thank you so much.
So nice. Thank you.
તમારું સેફ ડિપોઝિટનો વોલ્ટ છે કે નહીં?
જો હવે છે ને આ તમે ઘર જોયા પછી અને હું તો નોન સર્જિકલ ડોક્ટર છું એટલે મારે બેંકમાં લોકરની જરૂર હોય પડતી નથી.
Just wanted to know when can we visit your house and what's the timing?
See, there is no, I mean, we are planning a module where we can invite guests in a very systematic way. They can book online and then plan a visit, so it will be easier on both sides. We expect that you can also go and asking, and then my website is about to be finished, and then I launch soon. But then at least few days a year, there will be a plan where we can invite guests after we get scrutiny and then some kind of filling the forms for information. Yeah, but it will be possible soon.
आप अपने घर में कितने तारे लगाते हैं? Protect all this.
See, हमारे घर में तारे को ये लगाने की बहुत इच्छा होती है.
Thank you, Dr. Hiren. It was very nice sitting through this nature. Very nicely made, of course. Two questions. One is that, can you explain that Fibonacci series, if I read it right? And there was a reference to, in one slide, a Fibonacci series about clocks, I guess, if I'm pronouncing the word correct. And number two, on a lighter note,
Fibonacci series.
Fibonacci, yeah, okay, Fibonacci. You said Fibonacci?
Yeah.
Yes.
And second, on a lighter note, I hope an insurance company has agreed to offer you a flat.
So about the Fibonacci series, my architect friends are here sitting, but they can explain it better. But then it's a Fibonacci is a very interesting, recurring series in the nature. You find anything and everything in the nature, it has a very specific pattern of happening, waxing and waning. So there is a ratio, golden ratio is called 1.61 to 1. Everything which is made in this particular series, it fits in a spiral which continue to go and go on and go on. There is no end to it. I say 1.61, but there is an infinite number here. Because if you divide this particular this golden ratio, and more important for these architects, designers, graphic planners, it is that everything, if it fit in this particular ratio, they will look, everything will look beautiful. They are pleasing to eyes. Because our eyes or our bifocal vision in such a way naturally that will appreciate more these things if they have been done in this particular series or that ratio, and this is by the scientist Fibonacci, so it's a Fibonacci series.
Thank you.
I don't know where to start to say. I mean, I love your play of words. That's one thing that you have not mentioned as your love. But your beautiful phrases, that when the phone was tied to the wire and the humans were free, I really there were so many things to take home. And that at the end when you said the 25th hour, thank you for your very kind wishes about the colors of the peacock and about the time that we can find, and finally, the lock to unlock our life. I think we can take that on back. It's a wonderful way that we have celebrated World Heritage Day today. Thank you all for coming. Yes, 1 minute.
Sure. Everybody may not remember me by face. I am Dr. Hiren Shah.
Yes.
Namitar. And I remember તમારા ઘરના વાસ્તુમાં અમે આવ્યા હતા.
Oh, unique. 25 years.
Yes. અને તે વખતે તમે એવું બોલેલા કે આને તો હું એવું સજાવીશ ને તમે જોતા રહેશો.
You're optimistic, so
So I am very proud also that 25 વર્ષ પછીની અત્યારની જર્ની એક નાનકડો હળવો સવાલ મેન્ટલ લોક માટે કીધી નથી.
Your dream as a child, how you have been consumed by this passion. And this is something for the young to learn, that one has to keep on dreaming, keep on being consumed by a hobby, which later on turns into any other form also. But that is one thing which I found very interesting. And there's always this streak in all the doctors that I have found, that they have been great collectors, they've been very good at music, they've been very good at painting also. So maybe your IQ levels and your dedication and the focus helps you. You're not distracted. Just see one.
Yeah.
Just like you see the eye of the Arjuna saw the eye of the fish.
Yeah.
So that is what I felt. That was very inspiring.
Thank you for this.
For us and for everybody in English. Thank you so much.
Namaskar. Thank you very much. Dr. Hiren, I enjoy very much. Lastly, I would like to say that if you want to enjoy the peacock, go to the garden or the house of the Hiren. If you want to enjoy this thing, to spare the time and lock the house and go there.
Thank you. In 2003, we had been to Africa. My parents had been to USA. They were to come one day a year. I had taught my father and made him work on that shop for 10 times. But when they returned back after 2 months, he could not open that. And he has to, luckily my sister stays in the same locality, in the same society. So they had bags and bones to put there. But now I'm having a very simple work in my house.